Hey guys, thanks for checking out the channel. Hit the like button if you like the video. Don't forget to subscribe. And also, remember to hit that bell for notifications for when we drop new videos. So she says, "Do you love me?" And he says, "No, but that's a really nice ski mask." Oh, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Boogeyman Radio. Just being stupid, a little bit of goofiness here and there, brighten up our days. Tonight, we're going to be discussing some Bigfoot attacks. And this is our first jump into the whole Bigfoot subject, it appears.
Yeah.
Because, like, whenever I was in the YouTube studios, I was dividing things up in playlists. And in the cryptids playlist, I was like, oh, crap, we only did 3 cryptids, and one of them's not Bigfoot.
We're
That's
slacking.
surprising. Yeah. And instead
Slacking
of
on
just...
Bigfoots.
And I think it's a good idea to just, like, dive in with, like, the attacks and not even, like, just jumping in with the... So this is what Bigfoot was. This is where he came from. This is the myth and all this.
Everybody knows that. It's just like when if you want to just a good example, it's like when movies try to like rehash new superheroes or what have you. We know the backstory. We know, like, well, kind of. We know the main settings of what Bigfoot is, right?
Exactly.
So let's get into the nitty gritty of the Bigfoot. How about that?
That's what we're gonna do. Talking attacks. But before we jump into that, on a somber note, a good friend of ours in the paranormal field had passed away. Christopher Sutton. He was a really good friend. Chris was a shamanic practitioner, a paranormal investigator. He began his spiritual journey over 25 years ago and has since worked to help people understand their gifts and help people understand, the paranormal a little bit better. I guess he passed away either today or last night, just shortly after being diagnosed with, I think, lung cancer, which is a bitch. I hate cancer.
Yeah.
So rest in peace, Chris. We'll be thinking about you.
Cancer. Lost 2 family members and a couple friends from cancer. So yeah, I hate cancer as well.
Yeah.
It sucks.
It's this one wasn't as hard as Rick Rose. I wasn't as close to Chris as I was with Rick, but I've done some events with Chris, and Chris has always been a stand up, polite, nice guy. Somebody you can talk to, somebody you can enjoy being around, and he had a really awesome take on the whole paranormal thing. I will say that. Got to be part of some of his drum sessions,
which are really cool.
Yeah. In fact, like we were trying to talk Josh into doing it as well. We're gonna do like an event at Malvern Manor. At some point. But instead of just making it about paranormal, we were gonna like play music. Like I was gonna play drums, he was gonna play bass, and Josh would play guitar and stuff like that. And Yeah, it was gonna be cool. It was gonna be a lot of fun.
That would have been
But
really neat. I mean, you could still like, I don't know how many people you know out there that do drum sessions, but maybe eventually in the future you can find somebody that you guys can do that with.
well, no, I mean like an actual music thing, not like a
Oh,
not
concert.
Native American. Yeah, we're just gonna jam out at Malvern and have some guests and
I think it'd be a
party
great
and
idea.
but yeah, Chris, great guy.
Yeah.
I've been seeing a lot of people in the field kind of disappearing on us like that. People dying on us lately. So watch your shit, everybody. Watch your
Mm.
shit. Get checked up on.
Yes.
Or it'll be the last thing you do.
Immune systems are weaker now, so your body is declining faster. So we'll see what happens.
And it seems like everybody's getting cancer lately too. So
It's weird, isn't it?
it's insane. So, like I said, it was a somber note.
Yeah. It's
Dim this now, so I'm not
all the crap in our food and in the air and all that jazz. Sucks. I hate it.
That's better, right?
That does look good, yeah. Yeah, that looks better. Looks a lot better.
Right. So the meat and potatoes of tonight, like I said, we're going to talk about some of these attacks. I kind of wanted to put pictures up, but honestly, we've all seen pictures of foot castings. We've seen sketches of Bigfoot.
Mm-hmm.
So now what I will say, which I think we could probably do for another show, whether it's next week or, weeks from now or whatever, we can talk about some of the best Bigfoot sightings and evidence.
Yeah, that would be great. That'd be a really good show.
Even though Doc Connector, he's like, screw the evidence. Let's get to the attacks.
True.
But I did come across some really cool video pieces that I did download. I do have them saved for whenever we want to do that.
Cool.
Some really
Jumping
cool
the gun. I like it. Or
Yeah,
getting ahead of the game, whatever.
Some thermal imaging, some night vision, some regular daytime shots of stuff.
Did you see the one of the most? I would say it's probably the most recent one that I've seen. Looks like an ape person carrying something through the water. Did you ever see that one?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, it's a pretty good one.
I did.
Pretty good one.
But there's another one that I found.
Yeah.
Another one I found that people are putting it up there with the Patterson film, which we all know the Patterson one was debunked, but if it wasn't debunked, it'd be that good. But this one, we could talk about it later.
Yeah.
But it's interesting. I have my opinion on it.
Okay. So we'll get that to another show.
Yeah.
For people that didn't know, October is going to be a huge month for us.
Right? Absolutely huge. Absolutely huge.
So not only do we have some really good shows lined up for you before the special event in October, but I will talk about the special event in October. For 2 nights, we are going down to Eureka Springs, Arkansas to stay inside the Crescent Hotel. And, we're going to try to get some interviews. We're going to talk about the Crescent, maybe some history on Eureka Springs, because it kind of just built up around it and everything. Mm-hmm. Well, afterwards. But yeah, I'm so excited for that show, man. I cannot wait. Cannot wait.
And if we can get some more subscribers here, if we see another nice jump, I may set up some stuff for us to be ghost hunting on this channel.
See, that I didn't know.
Yeah, that's my little special thing. I was like, man, I could get us into the morgue. I can get us into anywhere.
Live stream the ghost hunt. That's awesome.
Yeah, we can totally live stream a ghost hunt. So let's see those subscribers jump up there. Share it to your friends. Share it to your family. Like, please. Hey, mofos, you need to jump on here and hit subscribe and all that good stuff.
We enjoy having you guys around too, talking to us, bringing feedback, whatever it is. We like it.
Yeah,
a lot.
And hell, you guys might get to participate in our investigation, our little ghost hunt.
Yeah.
I do phone in EVP sessions and stuff like that.
And stuff. Yeah, that'd be awesome.
But we'll see. We'll see. October's a little ways away. We got over a month. Just over a month.
Yeah, I know. It's killing me. Trust me. I want to get through September. My birthday's in September, so it's like,
right.
So
and also speaking of a month, well, actually not even a month. Next week, I've got a big week.
Yes, you do.
Doing some interviews and some video work for my film, Evil in Elkland, and I almost spaced on it.
Yeah, yeah, he did.
Evil in Elkland. Going to be doing some filming on that Tuesday, possibly Monday and Tuesday though. Some really cool stuff developing with that. Uh, Real quick, I'm gonna throw the teaser up.
It is so horrible, almost hard to imagine. A teenage boy went on a shooting rampage today in rural southern Missouri, killing his family before his uncle finally killed him.
Police found her body still covered up in bed, a bullet wound to her head.
Right now, 7 people are dead. This family is gone. The community is in shock.
There's no one left in this immediate family.
So the film hasn't come out yet, guys. I'm still working on it, but I do have a Facebook page if you want to keep up with what's going on with the film. I will be doing some major updates here soon. Like I said, next week, starting off the week with the with some filming, and then at the end of the week, I will be at the Fall Into the Supernatural event. That's in Lexington, Missouri. If you guys want to come see me, come hang out, come drink a beer, come chit chat about the paranormal. They've got a lot of great guest speakers that are going to be there. It's a very nice range of speakers, everything from vampirism to Sasquatch to UFOs, and I think they want me to talk about the spook lights, so I might talk about the spook lights.
That's something we need to talk about on here too.
The spook lights, yeah, we could. The tickets to it are $20, but all the proceeds are going to the Ray County Museum, which is another really cool place to check out. I've been there, did some filming there. I'm actually in the middle of editing that episode as well for Haunting History. But some really cool artifacts there, some awesome stories behind it. There's also going to be a ghost hunt there that weekend, and I will be attending that ghost hunt. So you can join me on the hunt. Just go to the Facebook event page, which I will post a link in the live comments here, in case you guys want to attend.
Every time I hear somebody say the hunt, I think of some uppity Canadian or British person. The hunt? Do it for the hunt.
hunt?
Like, yeah, on the hunt.
Are you joining the hunt?
That's what I think of.
Yeah. Like we're fox hunting and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Going for the hunt today. Yes.
So the Fall into the Supernatural is going to be on the 10th through the 12th. So if you guys want to join me, I will be there.
Yeah, that'll be a great con. I would love to go. Fortunately, cannot go. I've got big plans for next year and this year, so it's just like I've got to save where I can.
Yep, I feel you. So I think that wraps up all of our plugs.
I think that pretty well gets it. Yeah.
All right. So I guess if we're going to start on the Bigfoot attacks, we should probably go in chronological order, I would assume. Maybe.
Sure. Yeah. I want to read a story that's not necessarily a Bigfoot attack. It's the one that I was reading to you earlier. Yeah. I kind of just want to throw it out there just as
it's an interesting story though.
Yeah, like it's interesting. It's from the 1800s, so it'll be. I want to save it for last. You
want to save it for last? You don't want to do it now?
We can do it right now if you want. I
thought that's what you meant. You wanted to do it right now.
Let's do it right now. So this website I came across, it's called Bigfoot History. Okay. And in 1883, Smoky Bear, New Mexico, the caption of it is "Werewolf Billy the Kid fights Bigfoot." Just that in itself just makes me chuckle. Anyways, so 2 years after the supposed killing of Billy the Kid by Sheriff Pat Garrett at Pete Maxwell's, the good Christians near Smoky Bear, New Mexico, reported seeing a terrible wolf monster killing livestock and terrorizing small children. A posse was called up, and the group spent several long nights patrolling the area with no signs or signal of any monster or rustler. Then on the night of September 19th, a group under the leadership of Colonel John Williams Jasper came across a truly disturbing scene. The group of 5 men rounded a bend in the road to find a man with a wolf's head locked in mortal combat with a large hairy ape man. At first, the group thought it had to be a joke played by a visiting theater group or maybe some mischievous teenagers. But when they saw the gore start to fly through the air and heard the painful howls of both creatures, the men could not mistake the fight as real and true. The ape creature prevailed, finally gutting and lopping off the head of the wolf man. It screamed in victory, then slowly lumbered off into the darkness to lick its own substantial wounds. When the men went to examine the body of the wolf man, they were horrified to discover the man was dressed just like the dead man, Billy the Kid. Uncertain what to do, Colonel Jasper ordered the body to be buried and swore the men to secrecy. Whatever those men saw that night surely disturbed them, but the wolf creature's killings suddenly stopped. That's such a crazy story. I honestly think it's completely fake.
I did too.
Right? That would be a good episode, wouldn't it? Like
It would be. There's a dogman nearby.
Oh man, that's a good one. Okay, so what time is the first story you're going to talk about, or that you? What are the times for the stories?
Well, I just want to comment on that one though, real quick.
Okay,
like
yeah, go for it.
It almost sounded to me like maybe shapeshifters.
Yeah, fighting it out,
fighting it out with the Sasquatch, maybe.
The shapeshifter lost, big time.
Yeah.
And then,
well,
being dressed like Billy the Kid, that could mean anything, right? Like
it's a person.
Okay, they didn't say that it looked like Billy the Kid. They just said it was dressed like
like a cowboy.
Yeah. So it's like
I mean, what if the I am brain farting like crazy here. Oh,
what if what they were wearing was different compared to what they?
Well, no, I mean, I don't know what I'm trying to think of. What's the Native American thing?
You're talking about like mystical Native American creature?
Yeah, the thing.
The thing. The thing.
The thing. Go all Bill Cosby on you. Not like drugging you and making out.
Obviously not the shapeshifter. What? Oh,
Skinwalker. Thank you, Dot.
Didn't you just say Skinwalker a second ago?
No.
Yeah, you did.
I said shapeshifter.
Oh, okay. Well, I was gonna say Wendigo, but okay.
but yeah, like maybe it was a Skinwalker. Maybe this person was an actual.
I mean, it was in New Mexico.
Never gonna know now.
Yep, because 1800s, but
yeah,
it's an interesting story if it was like actually true and not just passed down to scare little kids. Because it did say, and there's like, oh, this wolfman terrified children. It'd be a good story to scare the kids.
Yeah,
it would make sense.
Or to make them feel better about going out into the woods. Like, oh, the wolfman's dead. You can go back out there now.
True, very, very true. I have another story from 1878.
Okay. Well, mine's a little bit before that.
Okay, you go.
Okay. So this one's from 1829. It's a long time ago.
That is a long time ago.
This took place in Georgia, in the Okefenokee Swamp. Let's see. Excuse me. So the tale originated near the south end of Ware County, where the line that divides Georgia from Florida passes through the Okefenokee. In 1829, the first settlers were just pushing into the fringes of the swamp. Surrounded by the stunning beauty of the swamp, they quickly picked up on an Indian legend that held a mysterious race of people lived on an island deep in the wilderness. So far as is known, the legend first appeared in print in 1806 in Jedediah Morse's book, Geography Made Easy. In his section on Georgia, Morse repeated a legend that a group of Indian hunters had gone into the swamp and became lost. When they were in a desperate condition, a party of the most beautiful women they had ever seen came to their rescue.
Suspicious.
Right? There's a little sub-caption here saying that they being lost in inextricable swamps, and bogs, and on the point of perishing, were unexpectedly relieved by a company of beautiful women whom they called Daughters of the Sun, who kindly gave them such provisions as they had with them, consisting of fruit and cornflakes, or corn cakes. Cornflakes, yeah, because they had cereal back then. The tale, repeated by Morse, continued with the women warning the hunters to flee as fast as possible to their own country, because their husbands were fierce men and cruel to strangers. These men of the swamp were said by the Creek Indians to be of gigantic stature and both cruel and warlike. Giants, say? The winter of 1828 to 1829 was extremely dry, and two men living on the edges of the swamp decided to explore as deep into it as they could. Accompanied by a boy, they went into the Okefenokee and over a course of 2 weeks continued to penetrate deeper and deeper into it. As they explored the very heart of the swamp, they made a startling discovery of gigantic footprints. So according to the Statesman article from 1829, January of 1829, it said that the length of the foot was 18 and the breadth of 9 inches. The monster, from every appearance, must have moved forward in an easy or hesitant gait. His stride from heel to toe being a trifle over 6 feet.
Jeez.
The men, as newspapers of the time noted, had seen enough. Ending their expedition and retreating out of the swamp, they related to their friends and neighbors what they had seen. The story excited the curiosity of a party of hunters who lived just across the Florida line, 9 of them in number. They went into the swamp to find the mysterious giant. They were guided by one of the members of the original party, and another excerpt from the original article. Following for some days the direction of their guide, they came at length upon the track first discovered, from vestiges of which were still remaining. Pursuing these traces several days longer, they came to a halt on a little eminence and determined to pitch their camp and refresh themselves for the day. The expedition was described in detail in newspaper reports published in February of 1829. Those accounts indicated that as the hunters were discharging their guns to reload them with fresh powder for the night, a wild animal charged their camp. Again, there's going to have a couple more newspaper excerpts throughout this, but here's another excerpt. The next minute, he was full in their view, advancing upon them with a terrible look and ferocious mane. Our little band instinctively gathered close in a body and presented their rifles. The huge being, nothing daunted, bounded upon his victim, and at the same instant received the contents of the 7 rifles. The fight, however, did not end here. He did not fall alone, nor until he had glutted his wrath with the death of 5 of them, which he effected by wringing the head from the body. Writhing and exhausted, at length he fell, with his hapless prey beneath his grasp. So, basically what this thing did was rip their heads off.
Hey, your sound is like acting all weird. It's going in and out. Kind of sounds muffled at times. Kind of sounds good.
Everybody else getting that?
Okay, that's better now.
Nah, maybe just a loose connection.
It was like I can hear you, but it sounds weird.
Okay.
We're good.
If it continues, let me know.
I will.
All right. So basically, this Bigfoot, or this creature, killed 5 of the men by ripping off their heads.
Yeah,
basically.
Great times.
So as the creature lay dying on the ground, writhing and sometimes roaring, the men who survived the attack gathered around it to make a closer inspection. The creature was found to measure 13 feet from head to toe and his breadth and volume of just proportions. Immediately fearful that the dying monster's cries might attract others of its kind, the hunters fled the swamp. The men who died in the battle with the creature were left lying there where they had fallen. This is a story, but could it be true? Nobody knows. The newspaper correspondent who reported it wrote that people living in Ware County on the margins of the Okefenokee Swamp clearly they believed it. So, 1829, they're not going to keep records if somebody goes missing. They're not going to be like, oh, he's dead, and all that. So yeah, if you guys couldn't hear me, in a nutshell, basically what happened was, two guys go into the swamp, they find some footprints, they come back, tell everybody, word gets around, and a group of 9 men decide hey, we're going to go and hunt this thing. So they go into the swamp, they find the footprint, they continue into the swamp, they start bedding down for the day, or for the night, and the creature attacks. They shot it with 7 rifles, 7 shots. But the creature still managed to kill 5 of them by ripping off their heads before it continued to die.
So,
as it was dying, it roared and all this stuff. They feared that it would attract others, so they bolted and told the newspaper.
so what you're saying is they killed Shrek.
They killed Shrek.
Not in my swamp.
But they said this thing was like 13 feet from head to toe.
That's pretty tall.
That's pretty freaking big.
Shrek was pretty tall. I'm just saying.
Mm-hmm. But they also said it had a mane.
Okay, you got me there. It wasn't a green ogre. All right, that's right.
Wasn't a green ogre.
All right, God, fine.
Fine, whatever. Ruin my Disney happiness.
I mean, I still think it's interesting that they go back and they decide, hey, we should get a hunting party and go find these things.
Let's go find this giant.
These foot tracks are huge.
Well, but you know what? That's kind of what they did too. If you think about it, like how many old pictures you see of them, like with all these now endangered or extinct animals that are hanging up, and it's a trophy.
Yep,
it's like trophy hunting. I'm going to be the first to bag a giant.
Yep, that's true. Yeah, it's like that's a big prize right there. I mean, it still sucks because even if it's like if it's not domesticated, right? It's an animal. It's wild. Like, which there were people that were there were like 7, 8, 9 feet tall people back in the 1800s, weren't there?
There were a few,
like rare cases, but
few and far in between. More like, I would say probably then a giant to them would be like 7 foot because the average height was probably fair. Like 5'4", 5'6".
They were pretty short. Yeah, that's fair. It's nuts to me how much like we don't see stories of giants anymore, even though they were very heavily talked about back in like the early 1900s, late 1800s.
There's another radio show,
which we'll save that one for another time. But yeah, that's an interesting one. I liked that one. That was good.
And I'm going to touch on it here for just a second because something just popped in my head. So like on the East Coast there, I can't remember which tribe it was, but a lot of the ancient descriptions of the giants out there, they described these red hair, blue-eyed giants. And in this story, the original 2 come across some ladies of the swamp who had red hair.
True.
And they called them the daughters of the sun. So, could have just had been a race of giants. What people did for entertainment before PlayStation. That was the original Monster Hunter.
Giants. Dude, for real. Yeah, I mean, when you hear the name, children. What was it? Not Children of the Sun. What was it?
Daughters of the Sun.
Daughters of the Sun. So it's interesting. Like, is it a cult?
Like maybe the Native Americans gave them that name.
Maybe. I mean, that is very possible.
Because they did talk to some Native Americans out there that warned them about the giants.
Oh. Okay. What area did they say this was? Or does it give an area?
Yeah, it's the part of the swamp that meets where the Georgia line meets Florida.
Florida, Georgia line. Nice.
Um, it's in Ware County.
Ware County. That's interesting.
So there's an area for you if you guys, dude. That'd be cool to explore.
That would be really cool to explore.
Film
Go
it.
down to those swamps, check it out, see if we can
Yeah.
find some giants.
Yeah,
Instead of hunting them, let's not
I just
try to
wanna
kill
film
them
it.
and get killed. Yeah,
and try not to get killed. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. That's a good trip. Yeah, we can set like up
Whoa,
some
whoa, whoa, whoa,
Patreons
it's just
and
a
try to
camera,
get
it's just
some.
a camera.
Yeah, just a camera. We're not here to harm you.
Like,
See a freaking axe or like spear go through the camera.
pop your head
Anyways.
off.
Yeah. Dink. Yeah. Jeez, that's morbid. But all right. So another one I've got is from 1878. It's Ogma Springs in Michigan. It's a lumber miller's wife assaulted by a white Bigfoot.
Racist.
I know, right? Elise Parliament Card, yes, that is her name, was hanging the washing in her backyard. Her husband, who calls it the washing? Whatever. Hanging her clothes in the backyard. Her husband, the afternoon foreman at the West Branch lumber mill, had just returned to work after having a sandwich lunch break at home. Elise claimed that she heard a mighty rustle in the cow fields, and the cows all became agitated. That is when she saw a large white monster running on all fours leap over one of the cows. It landed, stood up to its full length of over 12 feet, and it let out a massive roar, then sprang toward the washing line where Elise was standing under. Fearing mightily for her life, Elise took herself into the house as fast as she could. The screen door slammed behind her as she saw the 12-foot monster with red eyes and a large nose get itself tangled in the washing line. That sounds like a movie scene right there.
Yeah, no doubt. It's like the getaway of
Right.
of an attack.
Screaming Elise, she ran into the house. She fled the house and ran all the way to the West Branch lumber mill and refused to return home for several hours. So before I go on, I'll just finish it. There's one paragraph left. Her husband did find large feet prints in the area around the pulled down washing line and upset clothing. No other evidence was mentioned in their accounts. So, two things. That's a pretty dumbed down story compared to getting your head popped off, but
Yeah.
So one of the first things I think of is like, she left the house while this thing was tied up in the line. How far is the lumber mill?
Can't be like just down the
She
road.
just
Like,
booked it. Like, this thing's clearly fast. Like, and just decides, oh, it's tangled up in wire. I'm gonna go run to the lumber mill now.
well, I mean, what are you gonna do? You're gonna run into the house where this big thing could tear up your house?
I could grab a shotgun.
If
Or
they didn't have a gun,
If they had a gun, I would grab a shotgun. But I
I would
guess
assume they did.
she's just gonna book it, like just run for your life. Also, second, if he says that he found large footprints under the area, could it have been his wife's footprints? She could have large feet.
I think he would have known.
Probably would have known. But I'm just saying how.
Damn, Bertha!
I told you to stop wearing no shoes outside. Anyways, that would be a really.
Anybody ever tell you that's how you get worms?
I mean, that's how it happens sometimes. What? That was just kind of a silly story. What's the other one that you want to talk about here?
Well, real quick, just want to let everybody know I cut my finger
Nice.
with one of my knives, one of my Cutco knives. I was pulling the steak knife out of like some dirty stuff, and it just like grazed my finger, and it fucking sliced it open really bad, and it's annoying the crap out of me. It bled for a while.
I can
Anyway.
imagine. I can totally imagine.
That wasn't me flipping you guys off. I'm just
Yeah,
saying.
it totally was.
You don't know. You don't know.
What? When's the? What's the date of the next story you're gonna roll with?
The next one I'm gonna talk about was in 1924.
All right, so I'll talk about one more that I have. So in well, I guess there's not really exactly a year, but when it was published was in 1895. So, an article called "Terror in the Woods," which appeared in November 27th, 1895 edition of the San Francisco newspaper, The Call, and is a rather dramatic, violent account of several lumbermen who either went missing or were killed in a shockingly brutal manner by some wild beast in Northern California. The story goes that in November of 1895, a lumberman came out of the wilderness telling stories of missing men and a hairy wild man running amok. And the article reads as follows: A lumberman who returned today from the forest in the north of state brings the most harrowing intelligence of the doings of a wild man in the lumber region of the West Branch. He states that great consternation, whatever that, I
What
actually
in
have no idea.
consternation?
Yeah, I have
Going on out here.
that great consternation. That one's out of my dictionary, guys, so I'm sorry. Has been
I'm consternated.
caused in a large consternation. I'm going to say it's like great so great consternation has been caused. So I'm going to say like just some horror, like crazy ruckus events or whatever.
A disturbance?
Disturbance. Sure, let's go with that. A public disturbance.
I like consternation though.
I do too. That's sophisticated.
Sophisticated.
Yeah. And a large number of lumbermen have left the camps and returned to their cities rather than face the monster. For over 2 months, quite a number of men have disappeared from the camps, and when found, bore the resemblance of having had an encounter. A feeling of anxiety, dismay, typically something unexpected. Thank you. Appreciate that. But he had to look it up. Anyways. Either way.
But you didn't come up with that off the top of your head.
Yeah, I bet he's just really smart. Anyways, I'll continue. Yeah. When found, bore the resemblance of having had an encounter with some wild animal, their bodies in every instance having been terribly mangled and torn. A lumberman who had returned to a camp a little north of this city a week ago startled all by stating that while at work he had been attacked by this wild man, and it was only by the help of his axe that he was able to defend himself from the murderous attacks. Since that time, he has been seen by the crews several times, but on their approach, he fled into the deep woods with the speed of a deer. Interesting. Was he bouncing like a deer? Whatever. He is described as being so nearly like an animal that it is almost impossible to detect him from one. He has a long, shaggy beard and is covered with a huge skin coat. The general belief is that he is a sportsman who has become lost in the deep forest, and after wandering around for weeks has gone hopelessly mad. And already there have been over a dozen instances of similar characters in the state. And then this paragraph, I'm going to finish this paragraph. That was the end of the article. What is going on here? Another early report. Oh, wait, that goes into a different one. Sorry, thought that was the end. Thought there was more to that. So these lumbermen were just, I guess, regularly attacked by this wild man in the forest. So
I mean,
stop
you gotta
chopping
think about
down my woods.
You got to think about where this is happening, though. Like that, the Pacific Northwest. That's a dense forest, and there's so much there that I mean, I don't know. I don't think they've explored it all. It's like parts of Appalachia, has not been explored.
True.
Southeastern Oklahoma, there's a lot of land there that hasn't even been explored. Believe it or not.
Let's do it.
You want to go explore it?
Absolutely.
Like pack up a bunch of MREs.
Absolutely. I'm down. I'm totally down.
Just go spend like a month out in the woods.
Let's do it. I'll take a tent. I'll take some like camping gear. I don't care. Let's go do it. I'll bring a rifle or a pistol or something for protection, or just an axe, apparently, because this guy defended himself with just an axe. So
if you're going through stuff and be like, Charles, why'd you bring Viagra?
Yeah, right. Hey, if there's a lady Bigfoot, what am I gonna do? No, I'm kidding.
And lipstick.
Hey, all right. I'm into some weird stuff. Okay.
Hey, but in all seriousness, though, like if we ever went on a venture like that, I think we'd have to bring Jason Kupsik out. I know he's a wilderness guy.
All right.
He's a survivalist kind of guy.
I would totally be down.
It'd be nice to have somebody that knew what the fuck they were doing
Yeah,
out
'cause I
there.
don't
So
think
we're not
either
like,
one of us know really what we're doing.
I thought I could just rub these two sticks together and make a fire,
Yeah.
but apparently I was wrong.
This isn't like how they do it in the movies.
Got blisters on my hand.
My feet hurt. We've been walking for hours. Have to hunt for our food and stuff like that. I mean,
Right?
I've always been down for like a hiking wilderness trip, but whatever.
It'd be cool. Yeah, I mean, like I was just off of my own like squatching experience, like that's like if we do come across something that number one, being alone in the middle of the woods, it's gonna be intense.
Hey, we can kill our own Bigfoots.
Not like just intense, but like it's gonna be
Literally intense, like adrenaline pumping. Yes.
Yeah.
Hey, if we die, we die.
But-
whatever.
But that's the thing, like there's really nowhere to escape to if we come under siege by something.
Which is why you should bring protection. And I'm not talking. Never mind. Anyways, you should.
Yeah, we'll have guns. We'll have
Yeah,
guns.
well, yeah, of course.
Um,
Question is, who's the first one that's going to die while we get our guns?
probably me trying to pull one out. Like, oh shit,
It
it got me.
Dave's dead, guys. Sorry.
It got me.
This ends the podcast. That'd be horrible.
Camping is too voluntarily homeless for me.
That's fair.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
But yeah, just based off my own experience, like it does get pretty intense and pretty insane. And the fact that it happens at night makes it that much more startling when it does happen. I don't know if can you classify my experience as an attack? Or, I mean, we had rocks thrown at us, so
I mean, that's a object with force being thrown at you. So
I mean, it could be a warning. We were told that they give warnings.
True.
So I don't know.
Maybe.
I spent an entire winter alone in the vast Swedish forests. Only an owl for company. Good God, voluntarily, Justin?
I mean, I've always don't get me wrong. I like my humble abode and the life that I'm living right now.
Yeah.
But I think getting out to nature and just kind of, grounding per se, or just getting away from technology and the hustle and bustle, I think could be actually good.
Yeah, I mean, that's a side benefit of like if we went squatching or something for that long longer period.
Yeah.
Kind of reset.
Kind of help make you appreciate the things that you have. Like if we were to make it out alive, it'd help you appreciate the things that you have.
If you guys want, I will tell you guys about my Sasquatching experience towards the end of the show, after we go through another one of these attack articles. I'll be more than happy to tell you guys about my experience with squatching. It's very limited, but the one time I actually went like for a couple nights, it was pretty awesome. But yeah, if you guys want to hear it, just let me know in the go live if you go squatching. If we can, if there's any signal out there. If we did. Right now I'm alone in a small cottage at a lake in a big forest in Sealand, Denmark, and yes, it's my choice.
That sounds like actually a dream. Like that sounds
that
sounds amazing.
Give me a month out there. Holy shit. Get me away from fucking technology.
Oh God. That'd be amazing. I've always had like dreams or I'd say dreams.
Aspirations
of just literally taking a month off and going to a secluded location where there's no other humans.
Hey,
and what?
I was gonna say, I did find about 4 weeks ago, I think it was, a round trip ticket to Ireland's only $1,000. Round trip.
How long?
For a week. Yeah.
That'd be really cool.
I thought about it. I had the money and I was going to do it. I was like, fuck.
But here's the thing. Is there major? I don't know. Okay, so in the world we live in today, because it's a thing, is there major restrictions on certain things?
I don't know.
All right, well,
I mean, like as far as flying.
yeah. Well, I mean, depending on the airline, the country entrance, and stuff like that.
Yeah, I don't know about the country entrance and all that, but I thought it would be cool. Like I was thinking, I really contemplated on it because I thought it'd be cool to go there for a week, explore some of the legends and lore and some of the old castle ruins and stuff like that. I checked out a bunch of other countries to see how they were in comparison. Like Italy was like $1,700 and stuff like that. But
I think Ireland would be
Ireland would be badass.
Ireland, Scotland, Sweden, Denmark. That would be amazing.
Just anywhere out of the U.S. right now.
Oh yeah, just God. Oh, anyways, yeah, that'd be amazing.
Let me get on to this this last.
And we did have a couple confirmations on wanting to hear the story, so I think you should definitely talk about the story after a bit.
Yep, I'll talk about my encounters.
I actually don't know if Italy was. They might have been. I don't hear about them.
I think they were, but
anymore. So
it wasn't so bad that they stopped flights.
Right.
So
not stopping people from flying in. So.
Yep. All right. So this one comes from the Oregonian.
Okay.
I guess it's an newspaper. In the summer of 1924, a group of gold prospectors stumbled out of the woods, shaken and glassy-eyed, to tell of 7-foot-tall ape-like animals attacking them with boulders. Fred Beck, Gabe Lefevre. There it is. Yeah, great. Let me start that over. Fred Beck, Gabe Lefevre, John Peterson, Marion Smith, and Smith's son Roy described coming upon gorilla men near where they had built a small cabin for their gold hunting forays. They claimed that they were 8 miles from Spirit Lake when they encountered 4 of the giant animals moving through the forest with erect, human-like strides. They are covered with long black hair, the Oregonian reported, relating the descriptions offered by the men. Their ears are about 4 inches long and stick straight up. They have 4 toes, short and stubby. The witnesses estimated each animal weighed about 400 pounds.
Jeez.
Taken aback at the sight of the huge beasts, Fred Beck fired his rifle at one of the creatures and struck 3 times. The wounded animal toppled off a cliff. Beck reportedly claimed years later that another member of the party fired the shots. The violence proved to be a mistake. That night, the men said that they were awakened when huge stones began clomping against the outside of their cabin. Then they heard and felt giant bodies slamming against the walls and doors. The 8 men were seeking revenge. The beast eventually tore a hole in the roof, allowing them to target Beck. Many of the rocks fell through a hole in the roof, and 2 of the rocks struck Beck, one of them rendering him unconscious for nearly 2 hours, the Oregonian reported. Finally, the prospectors said the sun began to come up, which prompted the animals to break off their attack and slip away. The men poked their heads out the door, and when they just decided that the coast was clear, they ran out of the woods. Tales of giant ape men weren't exactly new to the area. Hunters, lumberjacks, and prospectors have seen massive footprints, and now and again, over the years, and Native Americans in the area have spoken of mountain devils. But few people seriously worried about the possibility of huge unknown creatures being out there in the forest. That changed when the gold hunters returned to civilization that summer day in 1924. The dramatic story of their battle with large human-like beasts was irresistible and thus hard for people to dismiss, which I guess people were extremely gullible back then too. With news reports and word of mouth causing a local sensation, the U.S. Forest Service decided to investigate. Rangers J.H. Huffman and William Welch hiked into the forest with Beck, who took them to the cliff where he said that the wounded ape man fell. A ranger scrambled down the supposedly inaccessible canyon and found nothing. Beck and the rangers continued on to the prospector's cabin, and Beck pointed out the large stones that had been used in the attack. Huffman and Welch weren't impressed, concluding that the gold miners had probably placed the large stones themselves. But an Oregonian reporter asked the rangers when they returned to Kelso, Washington, what about the 14-inch long footprints found near the cabin? Huffman created an imprint in the ground using knuckles and palm of his right hand. They were made that way, he said. But despite the rangers debunking the story, people still wanted to believe, and the tale continued to spread. Friends and acquaintances of the 5 men who reported their experience are of the belief that they actually saw something which cannot be explained. Cowlitz tribe member Frank Wanase, okay, there it is.
It doesn't just only happen to me.
Yeah. Told a reporter about peculiar creatures the tribe's elders had often spoke about. Let's see. There was a doctor or a paleontologist. Oh wait, no, that was on a different story. Never mind. So yeah. Anyway, these prospectors didn't really necessarily have a fight with Bigfoot. Basically, they saw him. One of the idiots shot at one and wounded it, probably killed it. And the other ones took revenge on him.
Yep.
There was no fight. It was just like, hey, you just nailed our boy. We're going to nail you guys.
Yep. That's, geez, man.
Okay, I'm catching up on comments real quick, guys.
No, it's okay.
Among the tags I've written, alien skull found in the on Sealand. Oh, wow.
Yeah. That's pretty cool. Alien skulls and whatnot.
That'd be interesting. I would love to explore that someday. Like
that'd be really cool
to get out there and do stuff like that.
Oh yeah, that's one of the coolest. Well, not coolest, but I do like that subject of alien skulls. Like talking about that kind of stuff. I think that'd be really neat. Really, really neat to talk about. Because it could be found like alien style. Well, just even skull warping. It can be found in many different kinds of cultures, and they did that to what is it? Model after their gods or what have you.
And what's cool is like when you see these ancient civilizations like that are in one continent and then some on another continent that are doing the exact same thing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's really awesome to see. And they say like, oh, they're so primitive they didn't have any way to travel across the sea. You want to bet?
Yeah, I was gonna say. And not to mention, how do we know what sea levels and where the continents were at that in those times? Just saying.
Maybe people should take that into consideration.
Yeah, geography things. But that's always been a very fascinating subject that I've always loved to talk about. Because as we know, what was it? You had the land bridge. I can't think of what it's called.
I know what you're talking about.
And I'm sure people know. Wasn't it in like Alaska or somewhere? Like
Alaska and Russia.
Between
Alaska and Russia. I think it's
So I mean, when sea levels, think about it. When you have underwater cities, it's because the sea levels have risen over the years. And
there's a city off the coast of Japan. There's a city off the coast of India.
I want to say I read an article like 2 or 3 months ago. Can't remember who published it, but it was talking about how by like 2040 or 2050, how a lot of coastal cities will just be underwater. I mean, with the increasing amount of hurricanes and storms on the coasts, I wouldn't be surprised, man.
Yeah, I think it's the Bering Land Bridge on the Bering Strait.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, the Bering Strait. I that's what I was thinking, but I just didn't want to sound like an idiot.
So,
I should have just
staying with our subject for tonight.
I do have one more.
Yeah, go ahead, read yours.
Okay,
if you need to.
I want to hear your story too, and I know they do too. I just want
Well,
to get
you've seen my story.
exactly. They haven't, but all right. So this is posted by Phantoms and Monsters, I think .com. So this article was posted August 31st, 2021. So today. And this was actually, so it says, just the caption, a drifter was attacked by an apparent Bigfoot in William Lake, British Columbia. A huge and thick 8-foot long log was thrown at on top of a tarp shelter, barely missing the witness. And the account was forwarded to him, and it's as follows. Oh yeah, Florida, Texas, like all the islands and everything along there, like just underwater. All right, so this is the guy's accounting. I spent 10 years of my youth homeless, drifting across Canada, hitchhiking, riding freight trains across every province. I never knew where I wanted to call home, so I traveled this beautiful country to see which places I liked best. I have many years of experience with trapping and wilderness survival, so being stranded in places has never been an issue for me. This particular story happened in the summer of 2013, so I guess it's not like recent, but it's fairly recent.
I'm listening, but I'm getting up for a second.
Go for it. I was hitchhiking out of Williams Lake, British Columbia, but it was getting late and I was having a hard time getting picked up on the small shoulder at the edge of town until one man pulled over and said, "I can't drive you very far, but there's a roadside rest stop a few kilometers down the highway, and I think you might have better luck there." So I agreed. The man drives me to the rest stop, and from there I pull out my cardboard sign that said east in bold, and like, okay, so this guy is recounting that, blah, blah, blah. Said I decided to hike off in the woods to set my tarp and sleeping bag. My plan was to sleep through the night, and in the morning I would walk back to the highway and try again. So there I go, flashlight in hand, walking into the bushes off the highway. I have always had a hard time sleeping with trucks and big rigs, so I hiked about 200 to 250 meters into the bush off the highway so that some of the sounds from the traffic wouldn't be so deafening, which I get that, you know.
Yeah.
I set up my tarp in an A-frame configuration between two trees, tarp draped over a tight line of paracord and pinned down with tent pegs. This has been my go-to shelter for many years. It was around 11 p.m., now pitch black outside. I didn't bother to get a fire going because I was exhausted from walking all day with 30-pound backpack. I crawled into my sleeping bag and I was out like a light. In the middle of the night, I awoke to tree branches cracking all around me, big branches too. Whatever it was big. I heard heavy panting / breathing, but the scary part is that it sounded like human breathing and very close, right outside my tarp. I thought it might have been a bear, but in my mind, there was no way it was a human because I was in a pretty remote area and it was like 3 a.m. Bro, you're a human in a pretty remote area. How is that impossible? But anyways, super unlikely it would be anyone deliberately trying to mess with me. And there were no cars parked on the roadside turnout parking lot earlier that night when I retreated into the woods. So, I mean, yeah, he's got a point. Like, the chances of someone parking and then hiking that distance to find, like, to see him, it makes sense. I get where he's coming from. He said, I am positive nobody saw me walk into the woods. I was paralyzed with fear, laying perfectly still, holding my knife and flashlight, which was turned off. The next thing I know, a huge log gets thrown and collapses my entire tarp on top of me. I started screaming as loud as I could, and I climbed out with my knife. I lit my flashlight, and whatever it was ran off in the bushes. And I never got a good view, but all I could see were very tall bushes being rattled as it took off into the woods. Then I looked at the log that was thrown at me. I was in awe. It missed my head by mere inches and pinned my tarp to the dirt below. It was about 8 feet long and maybe 10 in diameter. It would have killed me. I built a fire using whatever sticks laying around small clearing where I had my camp. I kept looking all directions with my flashlight and was terrified. I figured if I had a fire, it might ward off whatever it was that had close encounter. At any rate, I had no intentions of staying long. I took my shelter, rolled up my tarp, and packed up everything because I was getting the hell out of there. It took some serious muscle to move that log and get my tarp unstuck. Once I was packed up, I then walked back to the highway and waited until dawn before trying to catch a ride and felt safe there. Whatever threw that log was no bear, and I know it wasn't a human. I initially thought the log might have broken off from a dead tree above, but that was not the case. All the trees in my vicinity were alive and well, and it was thrown. William Lake, British Columbia, has been a known hotspot for Bigfoot sightings, and to this day, I am convinced that what I encountered that night was in fact the legendary Sasquatch. Could you imagine? Like, you're literally just this guy, and all you got is a knife, and then a giant freaking log that you don't know it's a log comes hurling at your tent. And yeah, I think I would have lost it. The breathing is probably where I would have lost it.
It gets a little creepy, doesn't it?
Yeah, a little bit, little creepy. Yeah, just nope, no thanks.
I had a picture I wanted to share because like there's stuff that people never got to see that I had. Like I couldn't put it in my film. I think it's on my old phone.
Of course it is.
Which,
I likely story. No, I'm kidding.
Which is already gone because I sold it.
Great job, Dave.
Yeah.
Back up your photos before you sell the phone. What the heck, man? That just didn't make any sense.
I mean, I can bring it up again on another episode and everything like that,
Yeah.
but I can go ahead and talk about like
Tell your story, yeah.
my stuff. Interesting.
Dave's
So
Bigfoot experience.
So my experience, my whole squatching experience, really happened by accident. We, my friend Josh Hurd and I, we had filmed a movie called Into the Light on the spook light phenomena, and we decided we were going to film a second one, and we started. We shot part of it in Joplin, Missouri, and then these people that I had met at a paranormal conference a few years prior, they owned they still own a crystal farm in Arkansas, outside of Mena, Arkansas. And they had reported seeing lights. They had video and photo of lights and stuff like that. So I'm like, hey, why don't we go down here and let's check this out, because that'll cover the whole piezoelectric energy theory. And we go down there, and they were experiencing everything from the lights to UFOs to Bigfoot.
Was this the place, the floating crystals?
The floating rocks?
Yeah. Or yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, floating rocks. Okay.
The moving rocks?
Yeah.
So when they gave us a tour of the property, and this is like 60 acres, they were showing us like weird formations, like where trees were bent over and then the branches were intertwined, like somebody had braided them into another branch from another tree to create like an arch. Trees that were growing together were kind of twisted around each other and everything like that. There was a ball in a tree that had branches twisted around it. That was one area we couldn't film because somebody was already doing a documentary on Bigfoot, and they were covering that area. But one of the pictures that I was trying to find was something we couldn't film. Was as we're walking, there's a cliff on the backside on this side of the property along the right of us as we're walking, and the cliff itself is probably, I don't know, 25 feet high. And then of course on top of it you got trees. Well, there's one tree in particular that I don't know how it got there, but there's like this giant tree trunk. Like it was snapped off at one end and snapped off at the other end, but it was lodged up in the tree.
Holy but geez.
And it was probably diameter wise. Well, the tree trunk at most was probably close to, I don't know, 4.5 feet wide. Lengthwise, probably about 12 to 14 feet.
Wow.
But it was like somebody had put it right up there in the tree. And it wasn't like at the bottom of the tree. It was towards the top of the tree that was right at the edge of that that cliff, that bluff. So how that got up there, no idea.
Yeah.
So the first night, Josh and I we went out. We hung out with Orville and them, and actually might play you guys a snippet out of the movie. We didn't experience really anything the first night. We found some stuff like these. Let me see if I can load this picture up real quick. Like we found these rock stackings out in the woods, and this was typical out there. Come on, load. There it is. You can see the rocks stacked there. These were typical out there.
Isn't that a very ancient practice?
I don't know.
Well, okay, rock stacking I know was definitely a thing in Viking culture. That was a huge thing in Viking culture. But I've seen rock stackings. When I went to Branson, we stopped by one of the lakes, and this huge section that was blocked off. We decided to go down to the waterfront. And there were just tons of rocks, and there were multiple rock stackings along this lake bed. And it was really neat because I was like, oh, somebody probably did that because people do rock stackings.
Yeah.
But yeah.
This is on private land, and
I was going to say then somebody would have to be sneaking on the private land to do that.
Yeah, and they would have to do it overnight.
Yeah.
So
do they have cameras out there? Sorry.
They have some game trail cameras, but that's about it. And they've got they've got a stage out there too that they've got cameras around that because of stuff up there. But the that first night we found rock stacking and everything, and we marked where it was at, and everything. So that night, I woke up probably between 3 and 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
And I heard talking. We're camping out in the woods, and I hear talking, but it's not like your normal, it wasn't English. I can tell you that. It sounded like a couple cavemen grunting and making noises to each other is what it sounded like. And I grabbed my phone and I started recording. And what I was able to capture, I didn't capture any of the talking, but we were told that the Bigfoot out there, they do hand claps, right?
Oh.
And on the video that I recorded with my phone, you can actually hear some of the hand claps. I think I'm going to play a snippet of that for you guys. You guys want to see that?
If you don't, why ask? Just do it.
I just want to know if they want to see it.
You've intrigued them enough, and I'm sure Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna pull up the movie, and I'm gonna have to fast forward through it.
But yeah, I was gonna say, Justin, that is a very good point that you make with that. Slight note of that, if I saw the trailer. Saw the trailer for James Wan's new movie, *Malignant*. Looks awesome. If you haven't watched that trailer yet, highly recommend you go watch it. James Wan is the guy who did the Insidious movies, the Conjuring movies. It looks great. I can't wait. Wow. See, okay, so it was a popular thing even before the Vikings. That's very interesting.
And hey, if Bigfoot's an ancient creature, then it makes a lot of sense that number one, it could have crossed over the Bering Strait, and then number two, that it could have learned that practice from generations.
Well, I mean, I'm sure Native American culture has some sort of. They have to. I don't just Native American general, Native American culture as general, has some sort of creatures they've seen as what we think of today as Bigfoot. So I'm sure that the Bigfoot in America has been around for a long time.
Yeah. All right. So this bit of footage here, this is my cell phone footage. So obviously the quality was not, but if you have headphones on, it's the best way to hear it. If you don't have headphones on, I suggest you put headphones on.
So it's a Class B EVP. I'm kidding.
Hey, Claudia. But yeah, so I woke up, heard the talking going on in the woods. I couldn't see anything,
Wow.
so I got back in my tent, started recording, and I think what happened was I talked about what I heard, and I went back to bed, tried to go back to bed, but then it started back up again, and I started recording again. So here's the snippet, guys. If you got headphones, put them on.
It's a little after 3 a.m. and I was hearing some knocks, like loud, like they were coming out from the woods. And then, yeah. Anyway, crazy stuff started happening. So, as I'm sitting here, trying to sleep, I've heard talking. Heard what sounds like talking.
You hear the clap?
Yep. Another one. Another one. Oh. Oh.
Hand gloves.
We've got up close to something before. I guess they didn't have time to grab a stick or a rock or something, and they'll do this. Clap, yeah.
I heard a lot of shit tonight.
All right.
I'm just saying, that's pretty crazy. Searching for spook lights and you find Bigfoot.
Yeah. So that was just the first night. The second night, it got really intense, where we were all just walking down this path, and we had a rock thrown behind us. We decided to look around. We started smelling the urine smell, like a animal, like
Foul smells.
that real foul smell, like fur and urine, and that ammonia smell. And we didn't see anything. And we were talking, and then we're all talking, and there was a guy from MUFON there too. And we were all talking, and I started smelling that smell again. So I ended up going off into the woods with my camera. And Orville followed me, and like I went down into this creek bed, started walking up, and I didn't see anything. I was using night vision. I didn't see anything, no eye shine, nothing like that. And heard a few sticks break, but that was about it. Started walking back, and this rock goes whizzing by my head, and it was so close, like I could hear the rush of air, going with it.
The smelly
And
smell that smells smelly. That's probably one of my favorite sayings. Thank you for that, Claudia.
So like, yeah, you could hear the rush of air, and I captured it on my camera, the sound of it. Which on the camera it sounds like a whip crack because it happens so fast. It's like,
wow,
because it lands in on a bunch of other rocks. Like I said, it's down in a little creek bed. And at that point, I was like, "Fuck, let's get back to camp and let's analyze what just happened." We get back to camp, did all that. We just lost Charles. I'm sure he'll join back up here in a second. But we get back to camp. We review all that stuff, and there's Charles. Welcome back.
What's up?
So after we reviewed everything and everybody else left, so it was just Josh and myself, had this brilliant idea that Josh and I, we were going to go into the woods and we were going to split up middle of the night.
Yes. Gee, gang, let's stick together. Now let's split up.
No. Yeah, we're gonna split up. So there's different areas to this property. There's one area called the main event area where they had this incident where these beams of light, 3 beams of light, went from ground to sky.
Oh wow.
They said it was about 300 feet, and they were cut off at the top, but it lasted for like 10 seconds. Everything that was up there, like the fence posts and tools and stuff, was all magnetized after that had happened. And that's where they started seeing lights and stuff up there.
Oof.
So I went up to that area. And then there was another area called the, what do they call that? The nursery is what they called it. They believed that's where these Sasquatch were bringing their young to teach them how to do tree bending and manipulate nature. So I sent Josh to the nursery, and I went up to the main event area. And Josh had some really close encounters where, like, more like warnings, really. It got pretty damn intense for him, where you could hear stuff either walking or running in the leaves and in the forest next to him because he's on a trail. You could hear stuff rustling, and he had rocks thrown at him and everything, like big rocks that were thrown really close to him. I had one rock thrown at me up at the event site, but Josh had the worst of it on that second go. But the experiences there was like, there's more that happened, especially with the stone, the rock stackings, and some other placements, some odd stuff that happened. So if you guys are interested, I've got my films out. You can watch. They're called Into the Light. Into the Light 2 is the one that takes a left turn and goes into the whole Sasquatch thing. But ultimately, I concluded, or not ultimately, but I did conclude that, like, a lot of these places where the spook lights are, there's a lot of UFO sightings and there's a lot of Bigfoot sightings. And I developed a thank you, Claudia. I developed a pretty interesting theory around that that encompasses everything and connects it all. So if you want to check it out, just hit me up, or maybe I'll drop a link in the comment section.
Yeah,
here.
it's really good. Like, I would highly recommend you guys check it out.
But that was my squatching experience. I did squatch once with John, found a structure, but nothing else came out of that except I got the shit scared out of me by a guy shooting his gun in the middle of the night, like just unloading.
Well, and you scared the shit out of Josh, so.
Well, yeah, I mean, I scared the shit out of Josh. I always scare the shit out of Josh. I should play that.
I think that's probably one of my favorite parts of that whole thing. So his friend Josh Hurd is insanely terrified of the thought of aliens. Just scares the holy bejesus out of him. So, this is a great reaction. This is great. I can't wait to see this again.
So I'm gonna have to mute it until the parts, because the music that is at the end of this is copywritten. So I'll unmute.
YouTube.
Yep, gotta love it.
Yeah.
Gotta love it.
But I mean, it's interesting. Like, I don't really know a lot of Bigfoot sightings around here from, like, where I'm from, like up like by KC area. I don't really know of anything, especially either like any kind of cryptids, really.
Yeah.
But I don't know what would be the cause of that. I've never really like deep dive into any of that. But I know farther south you go into Missouri, it gets crazier.
So hey, how about next week we just do the spook light subject?
Sure, let's do it.
And then I could dive more into the films and stuff like that. And all right, so I'm gonna play this. Josh didn't know I put this in the film until I did a premiere at a theater.
It's great.
And surprised him with it. It's hilarious. So here we go. I gotta mute the music though.
As you can be.
I can probably put.
Yeah.
Not yet.
What's the song, if I might add, or might add?
Evil by Randall Shreve.
I'll
play a snippet.
All right.
Check it out, Martin's gray suit. I'm gonna scare the shit out of Josh.
It was hot as hell too.
I bet, dude.
With
Out there. Are you okay? You look a little shaken.
You scared the shit out of me. I thought you were dead. I thought Bigfoot came, grabbed you, was probably having his way with you, and God damn that mask, man. Like you were coming at me, and I didn't even know what to think, dude. I didn't even know what to think.
I want to pop. Yeah.
Mute it. I
Yeah,
gotcha.
just real quick, just a little bit. We're almost there, guys. Hang tight.
I don't see that light anymore.
So I cut my radio off so he couldn't contact me.
You shot at the event.
And you'll hear him trying to radio me and shit. It's funny.
Hey. Shit. What the fuck? What's that mean?
What's that mean? And the freaking out starts setting in.
Same channel.
Should be.
Yep.
Oh. So with it being underneath your guys' audio for this, is it gonna mess with it at all?
No, shouldn't be.
Cool. Because that would suck. Anyone crap their pants?
Actually, it just means we couldn't monetize. So I mean,
True.
we're not monetized anyway.
Yeah.
I'll just let the music. But
I'm sure Josh would.
here we go. He came to investigate the site where I was at. It sees my camera on the ground.
Hey, Dave? Oh, fuck.
Running, panicking, heart's pumping.
Fuck! Fuck! Ah!
You can just hear the panic in his fucks.
Oh shit!
That was great. That was great. I always.
A little end here.
Yep.
You think you're over your alien phobia?
Probably. Like, maybe. I don't know, man. Like, oh. That fucked me up pretty good, though. Good on you. Good on you.
That is hot.
All right.
That is hot.
So I would have scared him a lot more, but I stopped where I stopped because it came into my head. Josh was carrying a gun.
Oh.
So I had to stop like right there. Like, let's not get too close and have him shoot me.
That would have been a funny, unfortunate series of events.
Right? Like, you shot me, you prick.
You came at me with an alien mask. What do you think I was going to do?
Damn it, Josh, you shot me. How does this alien know my name?
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, but this is what I do to Josh all the time.
It's like, me,
yeah.
I don't do dolls. I don't do, which, I mean, you use that to your advantage, Dave. It's fine, but I don't do dolls. That's my biggest. Nope.
I mean, I can see why.
Yep. And Denise thought she'd get me real good by having the doll in Malvern and just put it in different spots. And then she was going to plant it in my bag.
Doll and mouth. Which doll?
Okay, so there was, I can't remember the name of like what the doll was called, but she had like some sort of doll, and she planned on like putting it in my bag. And like when we'd pack up for the night, I would put my stuff in there and be like, what the hell is this? Like just kind of freak out a little bit. But I would have just been like, all right, guys, who put this in my bag? Just like, you know, and it's hard for people to keep secrets. But anyways.
Well, I'm always doing stuff to Josh. Like one of the things that I thought it was a really good prank was I I had these shirts made. Well, let me back up a little bit. There was a paranormal conference that we were speaking at, and I didn't have anything. Well, I'd been planning this for a little while, but I didn't expect it to go the scale that it did. But I'm trying to find the right picture. You guys will get the gist of it. So Josh and I, we had a table next to each other. We were both speaking at this conference, and every year at conferences or whenever I get a chance to, I mess with Josh. And this particular year, well, the year before, I just had like everybody there, like that showed up. Anybody that came to my table the year before, I had them start messaging Josh pictures of cats on Messenger, and you'd sit there and you'd hear his phone just blowing up, ding 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 ding. Like it was hilarious. So this one, I thought ahead on, and I had these shirts made up, and I'll show you what the shirt looked like. I put Josh's face on his shirt. His last name is Hurd, so it says "Have you heard?" on the front, and on the back it says Josh Hurd Fan Club, official member of 2019. And if that wasn't funny enough, I brought like 20 shirts and sold them, and had everybody that bought one wear it when Josh was speaking, and we all walked in at the same time and sat in the very front row while he was speaking, and it like threw his shit off. So funny. It was good. There's video of it out there. But yeah, little stupid stuff like that. This money well spent.
Great. Yeah, well, yeah, of course. Duh.
So, but yeah, if we go squatching, definitely gonna have to do a live thing.
Well, I've never been squatching, so I think I'd be interested.
It's fun. It's fun. It's
fun but scary.
You know what? I don't really get scared like ghost hunting or anything, but squatching after what I experienced, I'll be a little bit on edge, and yeah, this again confirms what scares you the most are humans.
Facts.
Yeah, it's rough being a friend of mine, isn't it, Charles?
Yes, it is. That's what I mean. You really haven't I
haven't done anything to you yet.
Yeah, thank God. Thank God.
Keyword is yet.
Yeah, I was gonna say keyword yet.
Just wait till the crescent, buddy. Just wait till the crescent.
Good. I mean,
you're like, damn it.
Don't I'm just saying, don't get me with a paranormal event. I want paranormal events to happen regularly.
No. I was crazy. I was thinking about maybe sending a tranny to you.
Okay, yeah, that works.
Like a little party with a tranny.
Yeah, that works. Yeah, that was
Yeah, the one with me and John. That's one I was talking about earlier, where the guy fired off his guns like crazy and scared the shit out of me.
During the Squatch live show, that'd be pretty funny,
right? Hey, I know somebody that's got a full body Squatch suit.
Question is, how would
get shot?
Yeah, right. That'd be the real kicker right there. I don't really hesitate, anyways. What would we just go off a cell phone signal if we did a live?
That'd be the only way you can
watch live show. Okay, yeah, we'd have to.
Yep.
Which I mean is obviously still cool with me, but either way. It's cool with me.
If we did it, I'd want to do it in Oklahoma.
That'd be really neat.
Number one, there's like when you get around Tahlequah, that's actual Native American population right there.
Oh, so Wendigo, got it.
Yeah, you got the Wendigos, you got the Skinwalkers out there. Especially in Tahlequah, there's a lot of rumors about Skinwalkers.
Hey, as long as we have some peyote, we'll be fine.
Yeah, right. But just south of Tahlequah is where, and actually driving to Tahlequah from here, when you get about an hour away, you actually start seeing road signs and shit about Sasquatch.
Really?
Along the state parks and everything.
Man,
it's really cool. It's actually, and it's a nice drive too, because it goes by Lake Tenkiller, and yeah.
All right, so we can either die or not come back. Awesome, great.
Whatever.
And not come back. It's for our fans,
I got murdered by Sasquatch, and all I got was this stupid fur. So next week we're going to discuss the spook light phenomenon.
Yes.
I will.
Which
bring
Dave's
out-
got that covered. Like,
Yeah, I could talk about what I could talk about, and if you want to look up anything, you can look up anything, just whatever.
all right.
So that'll be fun.
Which I'll ask you, you know, between here and there, like areas that you haven't covered with spook light phenomenon, or like areas that you have covered with spook light phenomenon, and maybe there's like some other places like outside of United States that I could talk about.
Well, I mean, one of the main places that a lot of people talk about with the phenomenon is in Switzerland. Actually, over in the Alps, they've got a research center that was devoted to researching ball lightning, and which is really cool. And that was something Josh and I were kind of dreaming of doing, was actually flying out to Switzerland to film at that laboratory.
Which kind of lightning?
Ball lightning.
So like, because when I went to Pikes Peak, 2 years ago? Yeah, I want to say 2 years ago. They talked about like lightning going within the mountain, like
That's ball lightning
bouncing around. Okay, cool. So that would be a really cool thing to talk about.
So there's that. I mean, I've researched a lot of the phenomenon around the world, but like it just depends, like where you want to talk about and which one interests you. There's some Marshall lights in Texas. There's a light that goes over a lake in Michigan, I think it is, and Iowa. I think Iowa or Ohio.
Isn't there one on Myrtle's plantation?
That I don't know.
Okay, I'll look into that one, because I've always have this weird, strange fascination with Myrtle's plantation.
All right. Well, guys, that's going to do it for us tonight.
Thank you, everybody, for showing up. It was good talking to everybody.
Yeah, hope you enjoyed the show. And join us back here, same time, same place, next week. 8 o'clock Central Time.
Yeah, 8 o'clock. Yeah, our time.
Central
I don't know
Standard
what time
US
it is
time.
you're over there, but thank you for sharing. That was great.
No doubt. It's good seeing you again, bud. All right, everybody have a good night or day.